Hello and welcome to the Oxford Clay Pottery Podcast. I'm Catherine Tomlinson and I founded Oxford Clay, an eco-conscious pottery company. So on this podcast, we're going to be talking about all things pottery related, often with an eco-conscious twist, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to the Oxford Clay Pottery Podcast. I'm Catherine and today's episode is on a topic which I hadn't heard of actually until quite recently, but I've been reading a lot about plant ash glazing, and this kind of popped up in some of the research I've been doing and just wanted to share it with you really because it's I don't know, it's really a really exciting kind of emerging area of pottery. So the topic we're going to be talking about today is agromining. And could agromining be the future of pottery glaze colour? So agromining basically is mining metals from plants. What? So essentially, there are some plants in the world that so all plants absorb metals and minerals from the soil as they grow, and there are some plants in the world that actually absorb higher quantities of these metals and minerals from the earth as they grow. So these plants are called hyperaccumulator plants, and what it means is they absorb metals from the earth and they store them in their tissues, and they're basically able to grow in areas that other plants wouldn't be able to. So for example, on soils that have been contaminated with metals, the tailings from mines, for example, some plants really thrive in these conditions and they're absorbing these metals into their tissues. And what agromining is essentially is using these plants to mine metals. So the plants will take up the metals, and then the plants are harvested, they're dried, and then they're burned, and then the metals are actually extracted from the plant ash. And scientists are kind of looking into this way of mining metals from the earth because it's a really good way basically of mining metals that wouldn't normally be available to say normal commercial mining operations. So this is the tailings from mines are basically all the rocks that they've extracted all the metal ore from that they can using traditional methods, and plants basically can actually mine extra metals from that soil that couldn't be mined any other way. So another really good thing about agromining is that it can actually decontaminate polluted soil. So that's why scientists are really kind of interested in it as well at the moment, because there's there's soil which has been polluted with toxic substances, heavy metals. Brunel University has actually done lots of research on this. I found some really good stuff on the internet that they've written about agromining and how it decontaminates the soil. And so, agromining has a huge potential for returning soil back into a kind of decontaminated state. So so scientists can mine, they're looking into, they're sort of developing ways of mining loads of different metals from soil, basically, using plants. Why is this interesting for pottery? Well, we already know that colour can be created in pottery from plant ashes. So I've done loads and loads of experiments with different plants, and I found that I can create browns from the iron in plants. there's purples I've managed to create, probably from the magnesium in the plants. You can create sort of like blues as well, creams, pinks. One glaze I made was pink. And so, they're not like very, very bright colours, but perhaps with agromining, if a metal is in higher concentrations in the plant tissues, potentially that could be something which potters could use to, colour their work, basically. If they're using like an ash glaze, this metal could be like added into the glaze through the plant ash, by using a hyperaccumulator plant, it as a plant ash in a glaze. So yeah, it really got me thinking about the potential, really. So this is not something which is used at the moment, but it just popped into my mind. I thought, could this be the future of pottery glazing? Growing a hyperaccumulator plant, it's decontaminating the soil, it's recycling the ash into pottery glaze, could be like an incredible new area of pottery. So if you're interested in like learning more about like plant ashes and how, the different colours they make and how potentially you could add colour to your work using plant ashes, then I've made a book on plant ash glazing, which has got 60 different glaze tests in the book. And so you can see like how different plants, it's like one recipe, and each plant will add its own mix of minerals and trace metals. And, it makes a different colour basically, depending on like the plant. If you're interested in that, that's on the Oxford Clay website, and there's also a video course if you're new to glazing, you want to learn how to make your own plant ash glaze. It's very straightforward, and I've just got a video course you can just watch and learn how to do plant ash glazing yourself. I hope this episode is interesting. We'll see what the future holds for agromining and its potential in pottery. I can really see the future there. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about agromining, and watch this space for more agromining pottery developments.